Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about conflict and how specifically that we can resolve or deal with or resolve conflict that we find ourselves in, whether that be with colleagues, customers, or anyone. So just a few very practical techniques today that hopefully will help you if you find yourself in this situation. The first one really is about being quite self-aware. For those of you that have been in workshops that I've run before, you know that I often like to start with the understanding that we have of ourselves, and this is no exception. It's really important that we understand and we're aware of ourselves in conflict situations, and specifically that we know whether we unknowingly are contributing to the situation in the way that we're speaking or our facial expressions or our body language or whatever that might be. So be self-aware is my first tip. Next one is around remaining objective. I think it's really difficult when we're in a conflict situation to not get caught up in the emotion of it. You know, human beings, generally speaking, don't like conflict. So it's completely understandable that our emotions might get the better of us in those sorts of situations. So try where you can to remain objective, to think about the facts, not to get carried away with the emotional content of the discussion or the conversation that you're having. Try and remain as calm as you can, and again, not let yourself be caught up at the mercy of the emotions that you might be feeling, whether that's anger, frustration, confusion, or just sort of a whole lot of kind of emotions bubbling together. So that's the second one, remain objective. The third one is around our non-verbal communication. For those of you that are going to tune into the communication session that we're going to run a little bit later, you hear that non-verbal communication actually makes up generally over about 90% of the communication that we have with one another on a daily basis. So it's really important to be conscious of our non-verbals. Think about our body language, our stance, our hand gestures, our facial expressions, the tilt in our voice, how we speak, all of those sorts of things. Our verbal communication is literally just the words that we use. Our non-verbals is everything else. And that can really help to either, minimize or de-escalate conflict, or it can really cause it to escalate. So again, thinking about the tone of your voice, thinking about, calming gestures like sort of stepping back, getting out of people's spaces, those sorts of things. All of those things really do contribute to whether a conflict situation escalates or not. The next one is around listening. So a lot of these are around communication, as you can probably guess. Listening is a really crucial component if we're trying to de-escalate a conflict. Often, again, because we get very caught up in the moment, caught up in the emotion. Perhaps if we're feeling quite threatened by someone, if they're sort of in front of us and getting quite angry with us, it can cause issues in terms of how much we're able to listen to what they're saying. But I would encourage you to really try and minimize the noise and listen to what it is that they're saying, because there might be things that you can pick up on that will help you to de-escalate the situation. So that's the fourth one. The fifth one is around solutions. Again, when you're trying to work through a situation with someone, being collaborative and putting forward solutions that both people might actually get something from is obviously one of the best ways to get a positive outcome. And then the final one is around boundaries. So some of you may have heard me say this before. I'm very much of the opinion that if you have a customer, particularly that is being quite rude and aggressive, you absolutely do not need to put up with that. So we don't live in a world where the customer is always right anymore. It's very important to have boundaries. Thank you.